Everything is the same until you look back and everything has changed. I can do what I want. I don't owe you an explanation. We all have multiple love languages. Will give you my full attention and I will listen to every word you say. To take yourself everywhere shouldn't be a lot, and for some it is, because it should only take a lot of you to pretend. It shouldn't take much of you to be yourself. A lot of people don't know this, but my favorite thing to do is yippity yap 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 all day long. But that's not why I'm bringing you this podcast. Hello and welcome to Colorless Oranges. I am your host Sydney Hyatt, and I am so excited to be here right now. If you didn't know, my favorite thing to do is to help people. I am a born helper. I am put in people's lives to help them. I hope that sounds better. Does that sound better? I think it does. I have been put in this world to help people, and I think that it's time that I have a designated space to do so. Colorless Oranges is a place for unconventional thinking. Today we're here to talk about boundaries. I want to know, what does it make you think of? How does it make you feel when you hear the word boundary? Is it scary? Does it make you feel like, oh, wait a minute, did I just step on somebody's toes? Or does it make you think of something for you? I personally always thought it was like the worst thing when somebody's like, oh, my boundaries, my boundaries. Like, it had a really negative connotation for me. But I have now come to the conclusion that boundaries are just a mechanism to help us not be burnt out. I don't know if a lot of you experience burnout, but I do. As an ex people pleaser, I constantly was always trying to help people in the worst way possible for myself. Like, I would put myself down in order to help others, and that was not the vibe. It was actually it got to a point that I had to realize that I was buying gifts for people at a price that I had never done for myself. I was buying like $1,000 this and $2,000 that, and I had never even given myself that kind of attention. So most recently, boundaries has been really heavily on my mind, and it has helped me with a lot of my relationships. For example, some of them that I used to feel like were depleting my energy, I started putting boundaries. For example, most recently, I have I had a conversation with somebody who's close to us in our family, and this is a family friend. Family friend is like, hey, you and I need to talk, and it's about a situation that I'm in, and it got me thinking, like, who are you to tell me that we need to talk? Like, I don't owe you an explanation as to what is going on in my life and why I've chosen to do what I do. I understand that sometimes I put myself in certain scenarios and certain places and give people the certain comfortability to ask me or to come and talk to me about something as personal as like my decision, you know? I know that I don't owe anyone any kind of explanation or any kind of sentiment of why I'm doing what I do. If I do, I feel like I do it out of the kindness of my heart or to help people with my stories, but it's not just so that you can know, you know? I feel like a lot of the times people want to know things just to know, and that irks me. Like, if this has no benefit for you to grow, it shouldn't be your business. You know what I mean? Like, it's my life. I can do what I want. I don't owe you an explanation. And I'm just going to do what I want to do. So when this person said that to me, it had me rolling, had my mind going. It had me just, it kind of like infuriated me. Like, but I was just like, let me not. Infuriated? Infuriated. It angered me very deeply because I couldn't believe that I had been on my journey for so long already, that I had allowed somebody to come to me and tell me what I should be doing in my situation. I think what really bothered me about this person was, I'm not here to take advice from somebody that I don't want to be in their place. I don't want to be in their shoes, and I feel like the only advice that we can give people is what we know. And if somebody's like, for me, for example, you might say like, oh, why would I take advice from you? Like, where are you in life? And we might not have the same goals, but I have a lot of experience in a lot of things that I think benefit a lot of people. to have like the peace of mind that I have, because I think that that's what makes the world better, is to have a good, calm, sound mind and to know what you want and where you're going. That's all I'm here to provide. Is to give you my experiences, let you know how I've gotten to where I've got. My English is beautiful today. No, but this person had once told me to put my feelings into a box, and from that day on, I always remembered that that person said that to me. So, having said something like that to me in particular, which I'm someone who used to put my anger all away, my sadness away deeply, and then in a couple of months or even weeks, I would explode. In school, I might have had good grades, but I've also was fighting a lot, and that came from holding my feelings in and putting them in a box. So when this person said, "Oh, you should put your feelings aside and still go out and enjoy yourself," that really bothered me, because I feel like we're in an age where it's time to let our feelings just be. If we're feeling any kind of feelings, it's time to just be. Let them. Let yourself feel the feelings. I just recently, like 2 years ago, learned that feelings are what your body is feeling, not what your brain is telling you. So, like, sometimes my brain would tell me, "Oh, I'm so mad, I'm so angry." My body was like, "Calm." You know what I mean? Like, I'm not angry. My body is not calm. Like, my body is calm. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm now getting to the age where I can realize emotion is just energy in motion. And I can grasp how deep the nothing is, if that makes any sense. I feel like I can sit for 2 seconds and allow myself to let the anger pass. I can allow myself to sit for 2 days and cry if I need to. So that in the long run, I am not this stressed out, burnt out, angry filled person. So I started asserting my boundaries, especially with this person. I walked away, I let them be. I am no longer going to give time and energy to things that aren't, fulfilling me. So I feel much better about that. If you didn't know, the actual definition of a boundary is to set a line, or it's an invisible line, excuse me. It's a dividing line. It helps define what you're comfortable with. And I think that really says a lot about, like, for example, I've come to the realization that what people are giving you is what they give themselves, or is what they want to give themselves. It's their currency. It's what they understand. Coming to America and giving us pounds is not helpful because we only know dollars. So this person gave me their advice in the deepest form that they could understand in their currency, and their currency and mine, they're two different things. This person is giving me pounds and I only have dollars. And it's not that I'm not able to currency change it, you know what I mean? Or like see how it applies to me. It's just that I've been there, I've done that, and I've surpassed that. I can't sit and bottle my feelings in. It doesn't make me a good person. It makes me sick, actually. I think that we all can agree that we all have multiple love languages. Me, for one, mine are more words of affirmation than acts of service. But I also think I'm an observer. And I think as an observer, I want to be observed. I want to be seen for what I can bring. And I think that it really started with me doing it for myself and truly not allowing other people to take that from me. I have been on this kind of journey for a really long time, finding myself and understanding the things that I want and where I want to be, which is not as easy as people think it is. Like I have gone through many trials and tribulations into things just to try to make sure that this is what I want this isn't what I want, you know? Sorry, we're trying to get a little comfortable here. I hope you guys like the setup, by the way. It took me a little while to, come to my senses, but this is just the first podcast. We have a lot other ones coming. As a podcast host, I think it's really important to, oh my god, my throat hurts. Me going deep down and figuring out what it is that I want had to come from learning a lot of people. Let's take a moment here for our sponsor. Thank you so very much. It's a joke, y'all. For the people who are only listening, it's a joke. I don't have a sponsor. Not yet, at least. We'll soon get there. I'm sure we will. I've been watching True Detective on HBO, and Matthew McConaughey's character said something really good. Oh no, not his character. Woody Harrelson's wife's character was talking about how important it is to know yourself in order to know what you want. And I don't know, that was just like such a breakthrough sentence for me, because it basically round up and concluded my whole like thesis on boundaries. In order to have a boundary, you have to know yourself, and you have to know what you're comfortable with and what you will allow someone to do in your space. As an ex people pleaser, that was very difficult for me, because I don't know, I think as people pleasers sometimes we just want to be wanted, and we want to be seen, and we want to be heard, because that's what we're doing for other people, and we do it so deeply and so thoughtfully and carefully. I don't think I was ever doing things for people for anything in return, but I do think that as an adult now, I realized the reason why I stopped doing it so much was because it was burning me out and I wasn't getting it in return. And I think it's time we start giving back our currency, giving people their currency. I think it's very easy to know what someone's love language is, and what their boundaries are with the way that they treat you. For example, in my relationship, my partner is very easy for him to give me things, buy things. And it's not that that's what that person wants to receive, but it's what they realize and what they recognize. And for me, it's so easy for me to give a compliment. You'll see me scrolling on TikTok, complimenting people. Whatever I see, I like, I'll comment. My friends, I'm constantly like the person to vocalize and use my words. But it's very difficult for me to do some of the others. Like acts of service, I'm very easy because obviously I'm an ex people pleaser, so that's not that difficult. What's the other one? I think I'm really good at quality time. I will give you my full attention and I will listen to every word you say. Receiving gifts, it's not really my favorite thing. Like, I think that I like the small things, so if you know that I really like Hershey cookies and cream, giving me that. But if you pay attention to me, the kind of things that I like and what I do towards you is what I want. And I think that I don't know if I'm the only person that feels this way, that I just realized that like the way that someone loves you is how they understand to be loved and what they want to receive back. I do recognize that in my relationship, my partner is very affectionate. So I think that they expect affection back. I don't think it's so difficult if you just mirror the person. And I think that they say a lot of things about Geminis, that we're good at adapting. A lot of people like to say they're two-faced and stuff, but I think the word is good at adapting and know how to be and how to act. And I use the word act very precisely because that is what it is. We are mirroring you, basically. I think it's very easy for me to mirror others. I don't know if this is a technique I picked up as a child or I was just born with it. I don't know, nature versus nurture. I don't really know. I think I bring myself wherever I go. And I think if you could see here, the poster, it says, I have posters for the listeners on my backdrop, and one of them is a quote from Lana Del Rey, and she says, "It turns out everywhere you go, you take yourself. That's not a lie." I wish that last part said that's not a lot, because to take yourself everywhere shouldn't be a lot, and for some it is. And I think that's where we need to, go a little bit deeper and figure out why. What is it that you're ashamed of? And here's another commercial. If it is easy for you to take yourself everywhere you go, then I don't feel like you experience a lot of burnout, a lot of social burnout. I think that a lot of the times when I see these influencers and people with big following, and they're always talking about that they taking a break and stuff like that, and how they can't keep up and certain things, I think that number one, you're not being real with yourself, that this isn't where you want to be. And also, you're pretending to be that person, because it should only take a lot of you to pretend. It shouldn't take much of you to be yourself, you know? I think that if you're constantly tired around being with these people and stuff like that, then they're not bringing the best out of you. You're not being true to yourself. I think that a lot of people who can't have social connections as well aren't real with themselves, period. There's a family member that I think about when I think of this, that they can't be with people for longer than like a little while. And it's because they're just not being who I know them to be, like who they are around me when we're alone. If any of you have any of those friends, or if you're one of those people, I encourage you to look and or maybe ask them, what is it that they're so afraid of? Why is it that they're holding themselves back from us as society? What is so terrible about them? I think that if we started being more real with people, we would find the right kind of people. But the longer that you mask who you are, is the longer it takes for you to find those people. I think that I have been slowly but surely coming into myself, and I think that's what your 20s are for. And coming into myself means I've developed new friendships, I've left old friendships, I've reconvened with old friendships, I've seen things in different perspectives and understand how to be now. And the people that I choose to have with me, my tribe, these are the people that I can take myself everywhere. And it's not a lot. It doesn't feel so hefty. It doesn't feel so tiresome or bothersome at that. I encourage a lot of people to always look within. And if you don't know what that looks like, try to take a video of yourself doing anything or write about anything. And you'll really see like who that is. There was one time I was writing something for school for one of my philosophy classes, and I read it back. I think I was reading it to my younger brother or something. And as I was reading, I was like, wait a minute, like, whoa, that's truly how I feel, huh? It was like, how do I feel about love or something like that? And I was just like, it's not about forgiveness. It's about growing with someone together. It's about mirroring one another and showing our flaws back in order to fix them. You reach true enlightenment. You get to that deep point of yourself, I think that a lot of times we get to a crossroads of either changing, growing, or staying the same and being comfortable. And I think that I love change so much, because that means that, not better, I don't want to use the word better, but there are new experiences. There's something about a new experience that I love so much. And the reason why I say this to you is because I feel like I've come across so many people who are afraid of change and don't want anything new and want to stay where things are and maybe just add one new thing or have something better. But I don't think people realize that in order to do so, you have to change. Like, you have to open a door, you have to close a door. And sometimes that door is like putting a boundary, like that invisible line is putting a boundary, is showing somebody like, hey, you can't come with me. Because sometimes I feel like the universe doesn't give us what we need, is because you have certain people around you that you're just not supposed to be with, or it's just not at that moment, because maybe you'll do something for that person, or it's, you'll mess up the cycle, or the universe is telling you not right now for a reason. I feel like for me, for a long time, like wanting to start this podcast, for example, I wanted to have all my friends involved and I wanted this and that. I wanted glitz and glamour and all of that. And it never happened how I wanted it to. And now I can sit here and say that I did it exactly how I wanted. It was in my mind and I came here. And although we don't have an interviewee today, we will soon. When the universe doesn't give you what it is that you're asking for now, it's because there are circumstances that don't allow it. Your boundaries might be low, your self esteem might be low, your self awareness might be low, the people that you have around you might be wrong. There's so many factors, but I feel like we always know. We always know what it is. We always know what we have to change. I think for me, for a while, I kept choosing the wrong thing to let go of. There's a lot of lessons that we learn that we should keep tabs of, keep sure, keep knowing what's there and what's to come. I encourage people to write down all their problems that they're facing right now, just to know where you came from. Because a lot of the times we don't see things until we look back, and everything is the same until you look back and everything has changed, You don't realize like what has happened in 3 months or 6 months or a year. You could even bring it down as low as like what you used to buy in the grocery store. I've always been a Goya product kind of person. I want my beans and stuff from Goya, but at the same time, now you see me buying jasmine rice, not Goya rice, which, change. 2024 should be about you and about what it is that you want and where you want to go. But in order to know, you got to know yourself. Got to know what you're comfortable with and what you're able to compromise and work backwards from your goal. You want to be a millionaire? Well, then what will a millionaire do? Stay away from people who don't let you be who you are and be who you want to be. Invite those people that inspire you or who challenge you. Because I'm not trying to say shy away from people who challenge you, because that's like a really big, important aspect of like what our friends and people who are around us are supposed to do. We are supposed to be challenged at certain times. So I'm not saying run away from those people. I'm not saying also if they're challenging you and it's tiring you out to stay either. I just want for us to be comfortable with challenge and face it head forward in order to move forward. Well, that concludes today's first episode of Colorless Oranges. I thank you so much for tuning in today. I thank you for taking the time and listening or watching, or if you're doing both, I really appreciate you. Remember to always stay orange, and I'll see you and you in the back soon. Sydney's out.